Hey guys, Kyle the Death Note of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 806. And I want to start off this review by saying that I want to talk about the pacing of this episode. And to be honest, it's a lot better than the past couple episodes have been. I know the past couple episodes haven't really been anything to talk about either, to be honest with you, because they've been kind of flooded with all the same kind of filler type stuff. But the pacing in this episode was definitely a lot better. I mean, it didn't have to even try, I guess, all that hard, but still, it was definitely a lot better from the past couple of episodes we've had. But I guess the one complaint I did have about this episode is that with the pacing, if there is anything wrong with the pacing, is that maybe they did spend a little too much time on animating Cracker flying through the air. Like I think they could have cut down that a little bit, but yeah, like I said, the pacing in this particular episode was definitely a lot better than the past couple episodes we've gotten. But then again, the past couple episodes I haven't really anything to write home about, so I guess it wasn't hard for them to come up with a better paced episode in this one. and and now I want to talk about something I don't think I've really talked about too much, which is the vibe and feel of this whole arc in general, because it's been thrown on a lot, like of what of what Thriller Bark feels, of what the Whole Cake Island feels like the most. People say it's got a lot of things that are similar to Water Seven and Enies Lobby. Others say it's similar to Thriller Bark, and to me, it's a bit of combo of both, because the whole thing of the layout of the layout of Whole Cake Island itself is very similar to Thriller Bark almost, although at least although although I would say a lot more chipper and cheer, at least on the surface. Underneath, I'm sure you'd find a lot more things underneath, like deep in the shadows of Whole Cake Island. I think you'd find a lot similar to Thriller Bark than Thriller Bark. But yeah, the whole look of Whole Cake Island has a bit more of a fantasy feel compared to Thriller Bark, I guess. But they do have like diff, similar layout, I guess you could say. Um, and the whole thing with the homies, like that alone is already very similar to Thriller Bark, with how, like, the whole thing of how the homies are made, very similar to how Moria made his zombies. Well, the whole Sanji being, and the whole, meanwhile, the whole thing of Sanji being held hostage situation, being in a hostage situation by his family, is very Enies Lobby. And, and like, the whole, like, Sanji's family, like, I'm sorry, when Niji and Yonji had those big ass smiles on their faces. Like, fuck you two. If you weren't holding, I was like, fuck you two. If you two weren't holding Sanji hostage, he would kick both of your asses. Hell, Yonji, you have no right to. Hell, Yonji, you have no fucking right to talk. He kicked your motherfucking ass already, so you know that he would do it if you weren't holding him hostage. So yeah, but yeah, the whole Sanji being held captive is very Enies Lobby, where that's, and I guess in a way the whole thing of them being of these similarities happening to begin with, I guess it is kind of one of those unavoidable things, because at the end of the day, no matter how creative One Piece can be, there will always be sort of that stigma that certain things about a manga or anime will always have a similar feel to certain areas, no matter how much they try and make things different. Like, no matter how much we perceive something as different, there is always going to be a couple of similar elements in a particular story. And but whatever is new, and whatever is new in there, I pretty much welcome it, to be honest with you. So yeah. Um. Now, in terms of the way the Luffy versus Crack, no, I want to talk about the Luffy versus Cracker fight. Um, in the way it, and of course the way it ended, because, like, now, like I said, I think one of the big complaints I had about the Luffy versus Cracker fight and the way it ended in this particular episode is that they could have cut down the him flying through the air after he was defeated part. But even before that, like, with with the thing of Cracker's fight ending in this one, it was funny. Don't get me wrong. It was very funny the way that the Cracker was basically absorbed into Luffy's fat folds before he went flying, basically. And that part was freaking hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but if you really think about it, it's Cracker's. defeat really says something. Like, Luffy had to go into his strongest form, his strongest devil fruit form, the form he used to defeat Doflamingo, one of the Shichibukai, in order to take Cracker out of the picture. See where I'm going with this? If Luffy had to struggle that much to take out one of Big Mom's subordinates, then he isn't ready for Big Mom. Or hell, I'd even go so far to say he isn't even ready for Kaido. I mean, if Luffy is struggling just to take out Big Mom, just to take out one of Big Mom's subordinates, sorry, he doesn't even stand a chance against any one of the emperors at all. Any one of the 4 emperors at all. Like, we can take Shanks out of the picture because Luffy and Shanks are in a friendly relationship, but if he isn't capable of taking a Blackbeard, if he isn't capable of even standing a chance against one of Big Mom's subordinates, then yeah, he's not ready for any of the 4 emperors. Like, Luffy, right now, you may not realize it, but you're out of your goddamn league. But yeah, and I think I'm starting to see the relevance of the I'm really starting to see the relevance nowadays lately of the Straw Hat fleet at this point. Like, I think the point now of the Straw Hat fleet is going to be to eventually help in taking out the Emperor. Taking out one of the Emperors, definitely in the future, the Straw Hat fleet is going to be a necessity in taking out. It's going to be a necessity in the future as far as going up against an Emperor. I thoroughly believe that. And actually, now that I think about it, I can see this playing out, like in terms of Luffy's side of this, future throne war that's going to be happening. I can see it going down exactly how Roger ended up defeating Shiki. Like, I think there's going to be all these. I think when the time comes, Luffy's going to have the entire Straw Hat fleet behind, backing him and helping him take on all the big baddies of all the big baddies of the New World. Because I think the Emperors are going to play a big part in that throne war. To be honest with you, hell, even Kaido's said, let's start a war. So yeah. But aside from that, we learn in this episode that Big Mom has the ability to create storms and control weather using 2 particular entities, Prometheus and Zeus. And judging by the silhouettes for those 2 beings, I'm guessing Prometheus and Zeus are the sun and cloud homies that we saw during that horrifyingly entertaining song number at the beginning of the arc. Like, I think Prometheus, and if that's the case, Prometheus and Zeus are very much an example of don't judge a book by its cover. They may look innocent and sweet, but I'm pretty sure they are very dangerous. So yeah. So yeah, I think Prometheus. So I guess just watch out for Prometheus and Zeus. I have a feeling they're going to play a big part later on for sure. Definitely during the Straw Hats escape or something like that. And one final thing to note in this episode is near the end of the episode when Luffy does this whole description of the whole situation and what's going on, like how Pudding gave them the map, how they ended up trapped in this forest, and I'd say that pretty much confirms Pudding is a double crosser. Pudding was the one who sent them here to begin with, and I think and Oda does great with complexity through simplicity, and so I think it's safe to say that Pudding is the one who is probably. I think there's a little more to Pudding than just being a flustered goofball. I think there is a bit of an evil behind Pudding for sure. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, yeah, guys, definitely watch for Prometheus and Zeus, and watch out for Pudding later on in this arc for sure. But yeah, guys, that's my video. That's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, or follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later.